Hi, bro. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm actually driving the Audi A5 Sportback. I called you earlier. I wanted to ask whether have you seen this car or not. It's quite amazing, lah. Yeah, it's a new model, 2020 model, and it's in quite a unique color, lah. Audi says it's in district green. I was wondering whether we should take it for a drive later or what, but it's for sure. But
Bro, we are shooting.
Hey, sorry. I'll call you back. Sorry about that, guys. I'm quite excited about this, lah. It's the 2020 Audi A5 Sportback. Anyway, welcome to Piston.my. I'm Cashy Dylan, and I was actually quite excited about this car that I forgot that we were actually shooting this. Anyway, we picked up this car yesterday. It's been, ever since I laid my eyes on it, I can't get over the color. And in my entire motoring career, I don't think I've ever seen a color such as this. Audi calls it district green. And it's sort of a chameleon of sorts, because depending on the angle of the sun, it changes color. And when you're indoors, it looks like it's grey. From some angles, it looks like it's matte, but it's actually metallic. Such a mind-blowing color. And from any angle that you take a look at it, so beautiful. The lines of the car actually accentuate the color as well. I particularly love this chrome strip over here. Such a luxurious touch, and it's not pretentious. It doesn't try to be a sporty Audi. This is, after all, the A5 Sportback. It's not the S5, it's not the RS5, it's the entry-level A5, if I may say that. But even then, it's a pretty thing. Those 19-inch wheels look great, don't they? And they come with the matrix headlights, which are a technological wonder. LED brake lights, signal lights, fantastic. I'll talk about the interior later. But for now, I just want you to know that this is an amazing looking car. I want you to know that because now I'm going to tell you the price. It costs a little over 375,000 ringgit, which is a lot of money for a brand new Audi A5. Some of you may be thinking, better buy grey import lah, better buy second hand lah. Yeah, you can, why not, right? But with a car like an Audi A5, you want proper aftermarket support, after sales support, right? Simply because modern cars, not just this car, the modern Audis, Mercedes, BMWs, modern cars are incredibly complex. Let's talk about quattro for a minute. Quattro simply means four, empat, say, right? So it just simply means four-wheel drive. Audi has single-handedly iconized the entire that word. Previously, it used to mean four-wheel drive, but in this car, it's a front-wheel drive machine. But it's an intelligent front-wheel drive machine because when it detects slip, or when it detects that you need more power, or when it detects that you're about to lose grip, it'll send power to the back wheels. So when a car is that complex and that particularly intelligent, you need proper support, a proper mechanic, somebody who has been properly trained to maintain this car. I'm not saying that it's going to be expensive to maintain. I'm just saying that you need somebody really smart. And sometimes it's difficult to come across this type of a person, but when you buy a brand new Audi A5 Sportback, that's the type of support that you get. But what is good looks without great power? Now, like I said earlier, this is, after all, the A5. As I said, it's not the S5, it's not the RS5, which are brands or models that are associated with great power. A5 though, it's powered by a 2-litre turbocharged engine. It produces 249 horsepower and about 317 Newton meters of torque. It does the 0 to 100 in slightly over 5 seconds, But this is where it gets really interesting. Despite all that, it still just needs 7.1 liters of fuel to travel 100 kilometers on the combined cycle. What does combined cycle mean? It means it takes into account of you being stuck in traffic, of you accelerating, of you stopping, of you being on the highway. So that's combined cycle lah. However, yesterday when I picked up the car, full tank and all, drove here, drove there, got stuck in traffic a lot, but still, I have a range of about 550 kilometers. Not bad, kan? So, anyway, great engine, right? Of course, you would expect Audi to have brilliant technology lah. After all, these are the guys that in the 70s and the 80s completely blew away, or rather destroyed the competition with the quattro all-wheel drive system. So this is also the system that helps this car be so incredibly fuel efficient. Like I said, it runs on front-wheel drive, and when you need it, it transfers grip and power to the back wheels. So intelligent, right? So when you're just cruising along, front-wheel drive, it just drips petrol into the injectors and it just is on fuel conservation mode. But when you need power, it's not exactly explosive, but it's plenty of fun. However, at the front here, I was also like, since we're at the front, I would also like to bring your attention to these two nipple looking things in the front here. What these things do, they're actually radars or cameras that help the car stay in the lane. Stay in its lane. Audi calls it the Audi Active Lane Assist System. Audi Lane System, one of those two. So what this does is it keeps the car in its lane. However, I think that may be susceptible to stone chips. But I thought those were lenses. They are not lenses. There's some plastic covers, so they may not be susceptible to stone chips. I'm not sure, time will tell. Also, since we're at the front here, God, it's really hot. Also, since we're at the front here, I also like to talk about the wheels. Traditionally, big wheels wrapped in thin rubber usually results in a very noisy cabin, simply because there's not much rubber to absorb the road noise. 19-inch wheels wrapped in Bridgestone Potenzas. The recipe, or rather the theory, says that the cabin will be very noisy. But that's not the case. It's still a very nice, quiet interior. Whether it's the tires, the Bridgestone tires, or whether it's Audi technology, I'm not quite sure. But the end result is a nice, quiet, comfortable interior. We'll take it for a drive now. But before we go for a drive, I would just like to talk about this slit at the side of the front bumper over here. It's actually a functional slit, so it forces air through here and out and away from the wheels over here. Well, it may sound like nothing, like no big deal, right? But what this does is that it reduces drag, right? So when it reduces drag, it actually increases fuel efficiency because the car actually has less air that it's needed to force itself through. So when there's lesser effort, lesser fuel consumption. Simple logic, right? But then again, it also increases downforce. So when the car is more, when downforce increases, it sticks the car down to the road, and that means you get to have more fun in corners. Let's take you for a drive and let's have some fun. Now inside the Audi A5 Sportback, I think some people may be disappointed because it really doesn't shout at you. It's a very simplistic interior. Some may say that it's very uninspiring interior. You come in here and you're like, meh, right? But that's not necessarily a bad thing actually, because simple is always better, you know. Now you Marie Kondo everything, right? What you don't need, throw it out, chuck it out. Or in Audi's case, put it in the MMI system. So there are not a lot of buttons to start with over here. Let's start with this. This is the volume button. I'm listening to my podcast, you know. So
just
so there's the volume button.
That middleman. So.
Okay, so I can turn it off over here. That's it. This chunky gear shifter, I love it. I love gear shifters, and you know, one thing that I find really sad is that gear shifters, I suspect, will eventually disappear. You know, with the modern Mercedes Benzes, they're over here at the side, which is fine. It gets that's how it used to be in the 60s or 70s, one of those years. But it's like a throwback, right? Which is fine, whatever. But I love chunky gear shifters. I love it. So auto hold button, electronic parking brake. Then you move up here. There's really not much going on here except for cup holders. On the topic of buttons, then you get the drive select mode. Audi gives you 5 different driving modes, right? You get efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. Individual lets you customize how you want the car to feel. This car, however, doesn't come with adaptive suspension. That's a different topic. But let's focus on the buttons. Then there's the auto on-off button, traction control, proximity sensor, and this button over here turns on and off this massive, almost borderless screen over here. So then at the top here you get the air conditioning settings. This is the what do you call this? Dual zone air condition. So not much going on here. Even the steering wheel, right? The steering wheel for that matter, there's not much buttons going on over here. So you can really sort of just focus. You do get pedal shifters though, which is fun. I love pedal shifters. Who doesn't? But that's what I mean. Most of it is in the MMI system, which is fantastic. I love this simplistic interior over here. So Audi kept it simple, guys, which is not a bad thing. Anyway, the seats, yeah, they're just that. You know, they're not plush. They don't really hug you. You know, you do need to sort of really delve into the electronic settings to really get comfortable. So you sort of really got to play around. It's not as sit in and immediately get soaked into the interior of the Audi. Nah, there's no such thing. But anyway, you get memory seats for the driver's side, no memory seats for the passenger side. No big deal. Make the passengers do the work. After all, you're giving them the experience of sitting in the Audi A5 Sportback with you. No memory seats for the passenger. That's fine. Seats at the back, well, they're okay. Even for my height, I did find myself getting comfortable. It's alright. But because of the Sportback body design, so the windows can be quite narrowish, smallish, whatever you call it. I'm grateful for the triangle window at the back, so it doesn't feel so claustrophobic, right? But I have a very special guest to tell you about the back seats. So on the topic of space in the back seat, I thought what better way to demonstrate it than to have my son demonstrate it in his baby seat. So let's get you out of here. Let's get you to demonstrate. And as you can see, space is rather tight for his seat. So I suggest that if you're going to put your baby seat, put it behind the passenger seat. Oh, is it? You think so too? Alright. Put it behind the passenger seat, right? Because here behind the driver's seat, I actually had to move my seat to the front. And keep in mind that this is a Sportback, yeah? So you still have quite a lot of space. Space for a stroller, space for your bag, for weekends getaway. There's still a lot of space. Do you agree? Yeah? You like it? I think so too. So yeah, I think in terms of space, there's no issue. And in terms of passenger space in the back seat, no issue as well. It's just that, like I said, that if you are going to put your baby seat put it on the passenger side. What do you think, Vihan? Yep. Baby approves. So yeah, that was my son demonstrating with his baby seat how smallish, or rather how you can work around the back seats. That's fine. Full power to him. Anyway, back on the topic of the interior of the Audi. Fantastic, right? Quality wise, no complaints, you know. I do, however, do not like, I did mention this to my friends from Audi Malaysia as well, that the piano black, you know, I've had this car for a couple of days. The piano black, if you take a look at it, I'll try to show you later. You know, you get all this, the dust, fingerprints, it just picks up on everything. But Audi is not the only manufacturer that is guilty of using piano black inserts, if I can say that, because piano black should be a big no-no, simply because, you know, of all that dust and fingerprints. Anyway, also you get one USB charger at the front here and one Type-C slot in the middle here. I think should have more USB slots lah. That's the different topic. So the Audi MMI system, this requires some getting used to, because it can be quite complicated. When I first got the car, CarPlay, no issues. And then on the second day, I had a bit of a tough time connecting CarPlay. Apparently, if your phone's Wi-Fi is turned on, it will not connect Apple CarPlay. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm sure there's a reason behind it. So I found out the hard way lah, that you know you have to turn off CarPlay and such. But yeah, that's a different topic. Anyway, what I do, however, love a lot, I love it, is the Audi virtual cockpit. This is massive, it's great. You know, I'm going to put in a photo right here, right now, just to show you how amazing this thing is. This entire meter panel over here, it's digital. The entire thing. So I have my music playing, I have my podcast playing over there, so I know what I'm listening to. And I have my GPS map displayed on the meter panel. Okay? So on the right hand side, just a tiny bit, it's telling me how fast I'm going and yeah, whether I'm illegal or legal speeds, whatever. And all the other minor details are at the bottom. The fuel panel, the fuel consumption gauge, the fuel gauge, whatever. Fuel gauge is on the left hand side over there. And the entire thing is just dominated by a huge GPS screen. Fantastic, I love it. And then you can change it too. Woo! So you get, let me see, you shouldn't be doing this while you're driving, right? I just want to show you. So anyway, you can change how this entire virtual cockpit thing looks like, which is fantastic, because you can customize the entire thing. So every time you get bored of it, change it. Bored of it, change it. In fact, sometime in the future, I hope that you can actually download and upload different digital templates to the meter, which will be great. I suspect that might be the future. Anyway, let's talk about the drive. Alright, as I said earlier, the 2.0 turbocharged engine produces 249 horsepower and 370 Newton meters of torque, which is great. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's good enough actually, and the delivery of the power is smooth. You know, it's just smooth. It's nice. You know, and it's unlike, you know, you want the sports Audis, you get the S5, the RS5. That's fine. Those things go like rockets. But this thing, power delivery is very linear. It's not explosive, but there is power. That doesn't mean there's no power. There is power. Just that the way it is delivered is very, very smooth. It's like a smooth operator. Gear shifts. So you select a different drive mode. Let's put this into dynamic. and it's more responsive. Okay, it's more eager. Okay, we are going through an area that is known to have this species called traffic police. Dangerous fellas, these guys. They jump out at you from nowhere, and they love to tembak belakang. Alright, we made it. Let's go. So, in dynamic mode, the steering wheel gets heavier, which means, you get a bit more feedback. You don't want light steering wheel when your car is so eager to go, because then it just doesn't jive. Like a sports car, if you drive a go-kart, for example, it's just the entire steering column is just mounted directly to the body, right? It's something like the A35 AMG, which it's I'll put that video down in our comment section so you can check that out. So anyway, on the topic of the steering wheel in dynamic mode, it's heavier. Throttle response, sharper. Gear shifts, more eager to downshift. You just press it down a bit, there you go. I'm not even flooring it. And it's already so responsive. And it's already so wants to go, right? So yes, that is dynamic mode. However, it does not change the suspension settings, simply because this car does not have adaptive suspension. What is that? You're saying that it's bad? What the hell, 370k and no adaptive suspension? Are you mad? Nah, not at all actually. Because on the long-term side of things, right? Let's think long-term, couple years down the road. We're going through another area where traffic police love to hang out. So we made it. Anyway, on the long-term side of things, right? Adaptive suspensions are always more expensive to maintain. That's just the bitter reality of adaptive suspension. It is everything, so the more expensive it gets. Normal. But not here though, which is fine actually, because even if it's not adaptive but the right quality it's not plush, you do feel the road, yeah? But it's not stiff either. So it's just nice, it's just that. So you want to attack corners? You can. And you have that quattro all-wheel drive system that I was telling you about earlier to take care of your backside in case things go bad, right? But you really don't need it. You don't need the adaptive suspension in the Audi A5. If you really want it, you have the S5 and the RS5. I just can't stop talking about them. Anyway, I want to change the drive modes because I need to talk on camera. Comfort. Anyway, so yes, another thing that we should talk about while we are inside the car is the road noise. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, low profile tires, traditionally the theory says that the cabin will be noisy. I've driven worse cars where on low profile tires the cabin is just unbearable, right? But in here you do get that road noise. It's not exactly the quietest interior, but it's not bad. Listen to this. So of course it depends on the road conditions and the type of tarmac that is being used and such. But notice that I'm speaking without really increasing my voice. I don't really have to raise my voice, which is fine, which is great, right? So in terms of interior comfort, it's nice. You are getting quite a bit of car for the money, and it does feel like it's good value for money. But let's just not talk about the used cars that you can get, or the cars that you can get from the grey import market for the same type of money, because that'll just defeat the purpose. Rolling in like a boss. The Audi A5 Sportback has proven to be quite the smooth operator. There's really not much that you can fault. You know, some might say that the interior is a bit too simplistic, which is fine actually, because it's really well built inside. And most of those buttons and whistles that you like, most of them are in the Audi MMI system. You might probably need some familiarization time with the Audi MMI system, because it can be quite complicated. But other than that, it's a very nice place to be in. On the highway, it's really smooth, power delivery, silky smooth. You know, in traffic, the entertainment system will keep you entertained. I do find the seats a bit small, but I am a bit chubby, fatty guy. So, yeah. Space-wise, yes, the back seats might not be as spacious as you would like, but then again, there's the A6 for that. And if you really want space, there's the Q7, Q8, you know. And yeah, I really can't fault this car. Yes, you can say that the price at slightly over 375,000 is not exactly cheap. But then let's not talk about the grey import market or the used car market. If those didn't exist, this would be a really good buy. And then let's not forget that when you buy this car, you get official Audi support and access to official spare parts and such, which is brilliant, right? Which is what you need when you spend this much money on a car like this, right? So, and if you really want to save money, Audi Malaysia actually has another A5 version, and that is the non-quattro version. It's only about 20,000 ringgit cheaper, which in terms of monthly payments is not going to affect you that much. And that doesn't have a quattro system. It's less powerful, 190 horsepower, 320 Newton meters of torque. It's not as fast, top speed about 239 kilometers per hour. And it's kind of slow on the acceleration. It requires 2 seconds more to reach the 100 kilometers per hour mark. Just buy this car lah. But if you need more space, there's another car that I test drove, and that's the Lexus RX 300F Sport, which is a really nice car as well. I'll add a link to that car in the description box below or somewhere on the screen here. I'll figure it out later. But that's another car that I think you should check out. And if you really like power, or if you really like to drive, check out the Mercedes A35 AMG, which I'll also add a link to in the description box or somewhere in the screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Keshi Dylan. This is Piston.my. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to support us so we can bring you more such videos. And do please click on the bell icon so that you'll be notified each time we upload a new video. Thank you for watching. Adios.